How's everybody doing? It's Paul from Magpie 24/7 back again. Hope everybody is okay. Fuck me. I know Eddie Howe wanted a positive result tomorrow against Brentford, but fucking hell, nobody could have seen this one coming. And literally at the nth hour, at the final possible avenue for it to happen, Eddie Howe goes and tests positive for COVID, and as a result of that and following guidance as it is at the moment, that will be 10 days potentially that he will be missing from the dugout. So not only the Brentford game tomorrow at St James's Park, but also as well the more trickier on paper game against Arsenal next weekend as well. So his debut at St James's Park, his debut in the dugout for Newcastle United, may be getting pushed back by another 2 games, and it is just another kick in the bollocks after a long a long list of kicks in the bollocks that Newcastle United have had this season, and it's another distraction and it's another layer of complication that, to be honest, we could totally do without, and we just don't need. And to be fair, I was on a high. I'd actually recorded another video previously in the evening, over the moon about the news about Lee Charnley, but you know, life of a Newcastle supporter, some good news, some bad news. But look, he's been working with the players for 10 days. Well, the majority of the players for 10 days. I know the Mickey situation. I know we've had some players away in international duty like Sir Emil Kraft, etc. But we've just got to hope that those words, his wisdom, the fresh face, fresh voices, and also the team behind Eddie Howe, so all the rest of his coaching team, can continue the fantastic work that seems to have been done in these 10 days, because this game, no doubt about it, is massive, and this sort of distraction is the thing that we can do probably least with. But look, it is what it is. There's nothing that you can do or we can do. He's released a statement in that he's obviously clearly gutted about it and everything, but look, the game must go on, the show must go on. You've got to be thankful, I suppose, that the club haven't come out and said that any of the players are going to be missing or any of the players have tested positive, because I think if any of them did, they may have looked to postpone the game. But the game goes ahead, and it'll probably fall on the shoulders of Graham Jones, with knowing the players a little bit better than the rest of Eddie Howe's team, to be able to be that presence in the box tomorrow. And I just hope it doesn't affect the preparation, it doesn't affect the performance, and we get what is a massive 3 points tomorrow. We've got to start winning football matches if we've any hope at all to be able to avoid relegation, out of the Premier League. So yeah, huge game tomorrow. Not ideal preparations, not ideal build-up with this coming, but it is what it is. Somebody's health has to come first and foremost. You've got to follow the guidance, and that is what he and the club is doing. So no Eddie Howe at St James's Park tomorrow, but look, we've got no Steve Bruce, we've got no Mike Ashley, we've got no Lee Charnley, we've got no Steve Castle. So there is still a major amount of positives, and touched on that before. Today, before the announcement that came out about Eddie Howe, the fantastic news that Lee Charnley has left the club now. Look, he's come out and he said some of the right things now. He's put a statement out, obviously not to camera, because that would be a little bit too much to ask. But he's put a statement out, a very respectful, kind, dignified statement. Basically, he stayed there for 5 weeks, as the handover of power from Mike Ashley to the new ownership group has come along. He's been there to sort of smooth the transition period over, but now that transition period is over. The club are looking for a new CEO. The club are close to making appointments for director of football or sporting director. His services have been dispensed with, and I'm over the fucking moon about that. I wouldn't have put this man in charge of ordering the fucking photocopy of paper. I wouldn't say he's competent enough to switch the light switch off after he's finished work at the end of the day. The man is inept. This is the bloke who single-handedly and against what the fans wanted or desired, pressed ahead with the likes of employing Steve McLaren, Steve Bruce, all picks on his watch. And he has been in one of the power seats over one of the worst and most pathetic and most disappointing periods of Newcastle United's history. Some of his decisions farcical. He's also refused point blankly and lied on several occasions about it as well, communicating with the fans. Fans forums got fewer and fewer and fewer. Statements from the man himself were as rare as a Mike Ashley one. And he's been a perfect fit. He was a perfect fit for the Mike Ashley Newcastle United. He was cheap, not so cheerful, didn't give a fuck about the fans. Well, the fans aren't going to lose much sleep over this man moving on and going somewhere else. I pity the club who is next has to suffer this man, because he is just as bad for me as Mike Ashley and all the others, your Justin Barnes and so on and so forth, because he was the man. He claimed to be a Newcastle United supporter, but he overseen some absolutely ridiculous decisions, joke appointments. He has time and time again caused the football club to suffer, missing out on signings, not bothering to do signings, doing dodgy deals, having people where we've been investigated, dragged through the mud. You name it, he's fucked it up, left, right, and bastard centre. You've got to feel sorry for at this sort of time for the likes of Mrs. Charnley, who must be as absolutely fucking sick as a dog to know that she's got Lee hanging around now for the foreseeable until somebody else is gullible enough to give him a job. But yeah, cheap, cheerful, but just never good enough. Incompetent, not had the experience. Yes, he was thrown in the deep end, but I've got no sympathy, whatsoever. An absolute puppet and an apologist for the regime, and just like I said before with Steve Bruce and stuff before, zero fucks given. Thankfully, he's been moved on now. We were getting worried a couple of days ago. I think in a piece that Guillaume Balaguer did for the BBC, he was talking about wanting to stay at Newcastle in a different position, fitting in somewhere else within the corporate structure. But thankfully, common sense has prevailed, and it is a case of just getting rid of the old to bring in the new and a fresh start. And what we didn't want was somebody like Lee Charnley from the previous regime hanging around like a fart in a fucking lift. He's been put out of pasture, and that's what was needed to do. On top of the piece that Guillaume did, I put down, he may want to stay, but surely to God his P45 has to be issued very, very shortly, and those prayers have been answered less than 24 hours later. So I'm over the fucking moon that this buffoon, this useless bastard Galah, has been shifted on and he's out of employment at Newcastle. He stole a fucking living off us for far too long. So he is gone. So that is the good news. So the bad news is Eddie Howe won't be in the dugout tomorrow. Hopefully that will not affect the performance or the result, and Eddie Howe will still have, whether that's by phone or some sort of technology, technological means, he will still have input into what is happening with that team. Everything will be set up, it'll be all carefully planned. We'll have tactics. I'm hoping to see some set pieces, some ability to deliver the ball, some crosses, some shots, and Newcastle pushed further up the bastard pitch. Regardless, we've got to come out with 3 points tomorrow. A huge game at St James's Park. Myself, Kyle, will both be there at the ground. So looking forward to that loads. So fingers crossed, it's the first win of the season. And we can start trying to look upwards and regaining a little bit of hope and a little bit of belief back. Interesting to hear his comments as well today, because obviously the press conference has been today. Talking about some of the players, the fitness, the formation. Spoke about John George Shelby really glowingly, so I'm expecting him to start tomorrow's very important match. So yeah, it's just amazing. What a roller coaster day from Eddie Howe speaking this morning, through to Lee Charnley losing his job, and now even absolutely good news that Eddie Howe won't be there. But yeah, believe it. Believe the fact that he will have eyes all over the place, and he will still have his 2 pennyworths into what is going on at Newcastle. Newcastle United and St James's Park tomorrow. Definitely. Hopefully, no more news. Hopefully, no players have also tested positive, because that would be gutting if we were to lose any amount of players out of what already is a pretty shaky squad balance and stuff. We can't afford to be losing a couple of players as well as the manager and stuff. So fingers crossed it hasn't spread. He'll do what he needs to do, and they will get the negative, and then he'll be able to come back into the fold just as soon as bastard possible. But only at Newcastle United does this sort of thing go on. But hey, look, new ownership, new start, new Newcastle. Out with the Deadwood. No Bruce tomorrow. No Charlie tomorrow, sitting there smoking in the expensive seats, looking down at everybody. So look, there's still positives, and I'm still positive we're going to get the result tomorrow. The all-important win. Got to be confident. Going for it tomorrow. In the meantime, take care, keep it tuned, and I'll speak to you later.